Hi, everyone. Happy Dreamforce. Welcome to Admin Best Practices for User Management. Are you all having a good Dreamforce? How many admins are out there? You are going to see this slide about 8 million times this week, but I'm going to show it to you one more time. Please only make purchasing decisions and investments based on products that are generally available, because we will be making some forward-looking statements in this presentation.
Drinking game, Sláinte.
If we haven't met, my name is Cheryl Feldman. I'm a product manager covering all of user access, and I have an incredible guest with me today, Steve Mollis, also known as Steve Mo.
Hi, thanks, Cheryl. So my name's Steve Mollis, or if you are in the Trailblazer community, you might know me as Steve Mo. A little bit about myself. I'm a former MVP like Cheryl, and I'm a self-taught Salesforce admin. My company got Salesforce back in 2003. And I'm also a community college dropout, or as a buddy of mine used to call it, daycare for 18 to 24-year-olds.
So you've probably heard that we're ending of life permissions on profiles. And we've heard that you're confused, and I hope to clear some of that up today. We've also heard your demand for best practices on granting permissions to your users. Something I want to clarify is profiles are not going away, but eventually permissions on profiles will be. So I want to first clarify, yes, please go ahead and take pictures. And we also have a blog, I also have a blog post that has this in it that I link to at the end, is what should be in a permission set and what should be in a profile. Think of your permission sets the way that you want to grant all of your permissioning that is many to many. So think about like your system and app permissions, your object and field permissions, your connected apps, your Apex, your Visual Force, your custom permissions, your tab settings, your record types that are not defaults. Now think of your profiles as your one-to-one. Your user can only have one. So this is your defaults, your default record type, your page layout assignment, and your login hours and your IP ranges. So I'm going to turn it over to Steve, who is going to share with you his letter called Dear Profiles.
This is my breakup letter with profiles. Dear Profiles, I think it's best if we see other user provisioning methods. We've had a lot of great times over the years, but I feel it's time for both of us to move on, and permission sets just get me. We'll always have our memories, like that time I created a special admin profile by cloning the standard user profile, and then I told a user that I had granted them special admin permission. That was a moment.
I wanted to talk a little bit about the why we're thinking about this. And really it's because you're all trying to get to persona-based access control. And let's be honest, profiles don't always represent a full persona. I can remember when I used to be an admin, so many times I would be told, hey, you know that sales manager over there? Guess what? They're also going to be doing support. And then it was up to you to create this, what I like to call a Franken profile, to figure out how you combine all the access of sales and support. You don't need to do that with permission sets and permission set groups. Also, profiles are giant monoliths, and they just have a lot of constraints. And what's really great about permission sets and permission set groups is a user can have more than one.
Users can only have one user name, one user role, and one user profile, unless they're Schrodinger's cat, in which case all bets are off.
So let's talk a little bit about the benefits of permission sets. First, they're reusable. If you create a wide permission set, you can reuse this across multiple permission set groups. They're also much easier to deploy and package. If you've recently tried to deploy a profile, I'm sorry, because I know there's a lot of challenges with it. But please check out deploying permission sets and permission set groups, because we've done a lot of work there. Also, you can assign a permission set directly to a user or indirectly through a permission set group. Let's talk a little bit about how you want to structure your permission sets. Your permission set should encompass everything for a specific task, or is what we like to call in product management, a job to be done. So think about account and contact access or account and contact management. You probably have a lot of personas at your organization that need to do some flavor of this. So you could create a wide permission set with everything from managing accounts and contacts and have it in many permission set groups. Now, let's talk about the benefits of permission set groups. A user can have more than one. So you could have a user who's doing sales and support, and they can be assigned both permission set groups. You can also mute. So if you have a very wide permission set for account and contact access, like we talked about in the last example, you can mute out the things that you don't want specific personas to do, which creates a lot of reusability. It's also more performant. If you've noticed, if you've assigned hundreds of permission sets to one user, you will end up in performance issues. You don't have that happening when you use permission set groups. So as far as structuring your permission set groups should encompass all of the permission sets for a specific persona. Now you can also create permission set groups for things like very general access if you have a type of access that everybody in your organization needs. And then you can also use muting for the things that you don't want. So for example, if you have delete on your permission set for accounts and contacts, but you only want a specific persona to be able to do that, you can mute delete in those permission set groups for those personas you don't want to have them delete. So let's talk a little bit on how to get started. So Steve, can you talk to us about how your organization got started with this?
So we got started the hard way. We are doing an org merge, and as part of the org merge process, I had to review our users, our user roles, our user profiles, and when I did, I was pretty horrified at what I had created in all those years since 2003. I created a lot of those Franken profiles that Cheryl mentioned. Perfect example, within our finance department, just one department, I had created 4 separate user profiles. But when I looked at them closely, they were nearly identical. They had the same object permissions, they had the same page layout assignments, but little did I know when I was creating them that I was spinning off and creating all this technical debt, all this technical overhead that I would have to manage over time. Every time I create a field, I've got all those extra checkboxes to assign, the field level security for that profile. And you're doing this, little did I know as I was going down this road, and what it was in this org merge exercise that I discovered I had been doing this. So, Mike Gerholt, he likes to, as part of cleaning this up, Mike Gerholt has a phrase called SABWA, Salesforce adminning by walking around. And, so I walked around or virtually met with users, talked about what's their day-to-day, what do they need to do to perform their job. Now, word of advice, don't just talk to your users. I've got a little girl, Millie Mo, she's 13. I love her, she's a great kid. I trust her more than I trust my users. She takes the bus home from school. Sometimes I'm at the office. Sometimes my wife isn't there. She needs a key to get into the house when she comes home from school. She doesn't need the keys to my car. She doesn't need the keys to the liquor cabinet. I'm not going to give her those things. But if you talk to your users and just your users, they'll tell you shit like, oh, I need sysadmin permission. I need customized application permission. I need modify all. Talk to your users, find out what their day-to-day is, but then talk to the stakeholders, the head of your finance department, the head of your accounting department. Find out what they really need and also what they want to restrict. So, but have that, it starts with a conversation. Find out, as Cheryl mentioned, job to be done. What do they need to do that job? And as sometimes, I created all those Franken profiles over the years in that finance. That was just one department that had 4. Sometimes you got to do what I call getting all CSI Miami up and things. You either got to put on or take off your sunglasses, roll up your sleeves, and get into that raw data. So I used some old tried and true Salesforce admin tools like Force.com Data Loader or Data Loader IO by MuleSoft. Great app. There's a freemium version that you can use. I exported my entire profile object with all the permissions on each of those profiles. I dumped it into a CSV file and opened it in Excel, and I used the exact function in Excel to compare all those cells, those true and falses on each of those permissions. And I was horrified. Like, I had created all these profiles, and 90% of them were an exact duplicate permission-wise as another profile. And I took those differentiators and I made those became my permission set definitions, all those differences between those profiles. And you can use those same tools to actually mass create permission sets and permission set groups and assign them.
Now let's talk a little bit about tools to help you get started. The first one is, how many of you have heard about user access policies? This is a great new feature that we've introduced. It's now in open beta, so you can turn it on yourselves in user management settings. What user access policies allows you to do is to automate your assignment of user access. So imagine you're creating a user. You have to manually add permission sets, permission set groups, queues, licenses. You can actually define all of that in a user access policy and activate it, so when a user is created or updated, all of their access automatically gets assigned. But that's not it. If you go ahead and create your permission sets and permission set groups like Steve did, you can actually use user access policies to reassign the users in those specific profiles to their new permission sets and permission set groups. And you can use a user access policy for one-time migrations as well. And right now you can have 20 active user access policies, but we're targeting GA for summer 24, and you'll be able to have 200 active policies. If you haven't checked out this feature, definitely turn it on and check it out, and I would love your feedback. Also, User Access and Permissions Assistant. This is a free app on the App Exchange that is fully supported. My team puts it out, and what this allows you to do is to report and analyze some of the user access. We also have some additional reporting capabilities that have come out in the winter release that you can learn more about if you attend Admin Release Readiness Live on Thursday. And Steve, can you talk to us a little bit more about Permatrix?
Yeah, so in doing this profile and permission set, looking through them, I was doing it the old school way with Force.com Data Loader and Data Loader IO and Workbench, but I went around the App Exchange, I downloaded Cheryl's app, great app. But another one that really intrigues me, I've just started to play around with it, but it's really, really intriguing, is an app called Permatrix, which, again, just like Data.io, it's got a freemium version, so you can actually install a workable version of this in your org. And I wish I had it all those years ago when I was doing those exporting profile object data down into Excel and doing the Microsoft Excel stare and compare. But it's a really, really great app for doing profile and permission set comparisons.
So let's talk about all of your favorite topic, roadmap. How many of you love roadmap? Roadmap. So in winter, we have a lot of things coming. I definitely also want you to make sure you add a couple of sessions to your agenda builder. One is the future of user management. It's both tomorrow and Thursday, where I'll deep dive into all of our roadmap, as well as Admin Release Readiness Live. But in winter, we have some incredible enhancements on permission set groups, on the permission set UI, on event logs. Also in spring, you can expect to see some more event logs, as well as a better UI for user access policies and additional criteria and actions. And also we're still working on some more granular permissions for managed users. One thing I also want to mention from the sharing side is if you haven't looked at faster account sharing recalculation, this will help you, especially those of you who are in enterprise orgs who have to do a lot of recalculations of your account access. This will speed things up. There is a release update for you to enable this, so definitely check this out. Now, how do you get started using these best practices today? Be like Steve and use permission set groups and permission sets where you can instead of profiles. Take the permission set group trailhead, and you can actually, we have a bunch of challenges in there where if you have not used permission sets or permission set groups that much before, it walks you through creating them, it walks you through muting, and explains all of these concepts. Also, you can install User Access and Permissions Assistant, and you can help with the analyzing, and you can also read our blog post. And so here are some QR codes as well as short links for some resources. This is our permission set groups badge, as well as our best practices blog post. I'll leave those up for a little bit.
Oh, one other thing, another thing you can do with permission sets that you can't do with profiles. Cheryl mentioned, like, you might have somebody filling in for a week or two. Somebody's on vacation, somebody has to fill in for them. You can set an expiration date for a permission set. You don't have to set a reminder in your calendar. Oh crap, I got to revoke modify all access from Joe because he's not covering, for the marketing team for this week.
That's a great call. That was actually the first feature I delivered when I came to Salesforce. So you can expire both permission sets and permission set group assignments. And these are the sessions that I mentioned that I want you all to add to your agenda builder. We have everything, a ton of roadmap. I know so many people love roadmap. And Larry and myself, we love sharing our roadmap and hearing your feedback. Also, make sure you attend Admin Release Readiness Live. Myself and a number of other product managers will be diving into our features and doing live demos of all of the features coming into Winter 24. Also, we want your feedback. If you like this session, please let us know. If there's anything we could do better, please let us know that too. And also, if you enter a survey, you can be entered to win potentially a pass for Dreamforce for next year. With that, I want to thank you so much for attending this session, and a huge thank you to Steve Moe. Can everybody give Steve Moe a round of applause? Not only for this session, but for every single question he's ever answered on the Trailblazer community, and probably some of you owe him a beer.
I just realized we're doing like we got the Red Sox Yankees thing going. We got and if you've never been to Fenway Park when the Yankees are in town, the Red Sox fans have this chant, "Yankees suck, Yankees suck." But this year, the Yankees fans can just clap back, "So do you," and we'll be like, "You're right, we do." And if you have questions for either one of us, we'll be around for a little bit. And I'll also you see that security station, I'll be at the booth. There's a permissions and security controls booth over there. I'll be there for a little bit if you have any questions. And again, thank you, and I hope you have a wonderful Dreamforce. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching. We would love to get your opinion on this content, so please leave us some feedback on the comments section below. If you did like this content, give that like button a tap, and of course, if you want to see more videos like this, subscribe to the Salesforce Admins YouTube channel. If you want to learn more about being a Salesforce admin in general, head on over to admin.salesforce.com. Thanks again.